Jason, what are you doing here?
You look beautiful. I always imagined what you'd look like, but wow. You are stunning.
I'm so glad you came. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. If I could take it back, I would, but I can't. And I want you to be happy with all my heart. I want you to be happy. I love you, Jules. Part of me always will love you. I just didn't know that I could let you go and love you at the same time. Was right about one thing, though.
What's that?
I knew you'd look good in white.
I caught the scent of a heart wide open. But I lost you when I found the ocean. Why'd you think I'd never hurt you anyway, beautiful girl?
The story of The Last Beautiful Girl, our 13th feature film, is probably, at least I hope not, but seems to be one of the maybe more typical stories of how most independent film shoots go. But it isn't something we'd experienced until, well, we hit number 13. It's called The Last Beautiful Girl, and it might have been the last film I ever made. So it started as really, I don't know if the word is remake or readaptation or re-whatever of the script for Littlefield. As I'd said before, that script, Littlefield, meant a lot to me. And it never, as I got away from producing the film, the movie I was trying to make, I realized didn't really get made the first time out. And because we were new, because we didn't really know what we were doing, we were technically behind. There were lots of reasons why. And I felt like coming out of Disassociationville, I really liked the headspace I was in as a director. I liked the headspace that I was in as a writer. And I liked where the company was, like we were in this stretch run between Look at Me Again and Disassociationville, where it was a lot of the same people, although, some subtraction and some addition, but we felt, generally speaking, really good about things. And so I kind of went back, and I should have seen it coming, but there were a lot of factors colliding at one time that I didn't really realize would affect the production. There were some logistical ones. It ended up being Chris Koppel's last film with us. And I've spoken before how he and I functioned as a team in such a wonderful way that I was kind of nervous. I was wanting to prove that I could make a film without him. And I think Emily was great and did a fantastic job on the shoot. She did just a great job. The other thing is, for some reason, and I don't even necessarily know why, I'm sure there were logical reasons why, I really wanted new leads. I wanted not some of the same faces we'd seen before. I can't really explain why. I just felt the need. And I think things started off great. We auditioned and cast Morgan Floyd, who I think is still the best audition I've ever had. And she did a fantastic job in the movie.
That movie really broke me in as a producer. I feel like the mark of a good producer is kind of troubleshooting what's going to go wrong, because something inevitably goes wrong, and then preemptively fixing it so no one, knew it was going to go wrong in the first place. And that movie, it was the movie where everything went wrong. We lost our lead and walked off the set. Jim and I, who get along swimmingly, just chef's kiss, the best of friends, were so just stressed out, agitated, that we had, I think, our first and only fight, where I cried and he ended up punching a fence.
That's what we call a tease in the movie industry. That was the sound of Grace Hathaway describing her experiences on The Last Beautiful Girl. We cast Morgan in the movie. We met Shelby Cullinan, who would be a big part of Twitchy going forward. Tracy Ely, who would be a big part of Twitchy going forward. But it just didn't start off great. And I think everything that happens that's bad happens because I had a failure of leadership. I had a failure of setting a vision. Everything else that happens as a result of that, they're symptoms. But the blame, if I'm going to take the credit as much as I really don't like to, I'm also going to take the blame as much as I'm almost more willing to do that. So we had cast a lead who just wasn't engaged from the beginning. And you can start to tell. You can tell when you see how actors are when it comes to things like spreading the word, the crowdfunding, all of those little bits that aren't about the film. You can tell how engaged someone is when it gets to doing those things that are basically what I would describe as the work of independent film. Making the film is the play. That's the fun part. And I could tell he wasn't engaged, and rather than upset the apple cart with a recasting, moving, we'd put Derek in a supporting role because he had carried so much a burden for Deville, and frankly, he just didn't look the part. So I felt like, with not wanting to upset the apple cart with such a new cast all the way around, and hubris. The idea is, I've been doing this now for 12 features, 13 feature films. I expect that the force of whatever reputation I have, and it's obviously a good one because people still want to be in the movies, and I haven't made one in 2 years. I felt like if we could just get to shooting, it would be okay. And it was not. And it was a real, the first couple of weeks of shooting that film were toxic. They were the kind of toxic that if that was the situation the first time I'd made a movie, that would have been the only movie I made. And it came to a head in a lot of ways. It was actors who, I don't know if he just came from a different school of thought. I don't know if he just came from a different way of doing things that I wasn't familiar, but it was as if he felt like his say over the character was as important as mine. And whenever there was a difference of opinion, there would be really just negative reactions from him. And I'm not naming names on purpose. I'm not naming names on purpose because this was, like 5 years ago now. And the fact is that people change, people evolve, and I have no ill will towards this person. But I think it sets the tone for what Grace is talking about. And the level of toxicity had gotten to the point where he and I were basically yelling at each other between takes. And he and I, it was such a toxic set. When if you look at how everybody for the first 12 movies have described our sets, it's fun and it's family and there are no egos. And then all of a sudden, it's awful. To the point that my wife did not feel comfortable coming to set anymore. And her deciding to leave set after dropping off Crafty because she had never seen, as she said, me talk to a certain way. That is what led to the worst day I've ever had on set. And so Jessica ends up leaving. I think didn't even say goodbye, just left. And when you mess with her, you're really walking on the fight inside of me. And things started to spiral. I was trying to deal with, help people get through all of this. And then while I'm away talking with an actor, Grace has got another actor who's now threatening to leave. She doesn't know what to do. It's not fair to put her in that position. I end up calling the day. Grace and I end up screaming at each other. And I end up punching the fence.
And, we had to squeeze extra shoot days into a shorter amount of time because we had to reshoot but we made it happen. It made us stronger as a team. But, yeah, that was a doozy of a shoot.
So we dismiss the cast and crew, right before the fight, and again, fences punched. And we called Nathan, and Nathan came right over. And the cool thing about that is that Nathan's not one to be on set very much. Like, Nathan was never a filmmaker. Being on set can be boring. But he came immediately right over with a couple of 12 backs of Shiner Bock. And I think Jessica did come back. And then it was me and Emily and Grace and Jessica and Nathan. And we started to drink this beer. And really considering, in my head, I'm considering all manner of things. Like, is this the end? Is this the last film? So we call Morgan, and we're like, we're going to reshoot the first 3 weeks, and I hope you're cool with it. And she was. And I can't imagine how tough that must have been for her as an actor, because the fact is that, when you one, prep with someone else, and then two, you shoot a bunch of stuff, when you go back to reshoot it, it doesn't feel as... I can imagine you don't feel as energetic about the project. But it led to the casting of Jay McCain. And in so many ways, look, I'm proud of The Last Beautiful Girl as a movie. And in part, I'm proud of the fact that Jay McCain taught me about what integrity was. So Jay had auditioned for the part, came very close to getting it, and now we're in this pickle. And we call him up, and I remember thinking, he's not going to say yes. And if he doesn't say yes, I don't blame him, because we'd already told him no. For him to come back and drop what he was doing and dive into this character full bore is really the definition of integrity. And so how one shoot can start out one way and end another is amazing and beautiful, and I love it.
It's bugging me though. I'm usually amazing with faces.
I don't think so.
You sure?
Oh, I'm sure.
I got it. You're Micah's roommate. We had some group fun the other night. You're cute. We should have invited you.
Micah. Micah.
The Last Beautiful Girl. One of the most fun experiences I've ever had on a film set. I only got the part because the person who was hired for the job before me had artistic differences with James, and they brought me in. Well, Derek Babbs suggested, so I came in, read it again, read it a third time. James was like, okay. And then a day later, he was like, the part's yours if you want it. One of my favorite moments of that, actually, I loved filming that movie so much. It was such a good script, and James is such a fun director to be around. I felt like I had certain freedoms. He let me do takes differently nearly every time, even though he was like, this is gonna kill me in post, James. This is gonna kill me in post. He would still let me do it and be like, if you can, try to hit it this way exactly over and over and over. But he let me do it kind of my way. So much fun filming in the rain, filming at that lake house. It was super beautiful. That was probably one of my standout memories, because everybody was there inside the house. We were filming the scene where Mike's all doing like his little like, I can't see you before the wedding day or it's bad luck thing.
The Last Beautiful Girl. Man, so first of all, can't remember if it was the first movie, but it was one of a string of movies where Jim wrote my character's name as one of the Bond actors. I was Roger in this. I played Pierce in something else. I think I played Sean in something else. I can't remember now, but it was great. It was kind of a fun little thing to get to read that. So thanks, buddy. There's a scene where I come in and I'm worried that my fiance on our wedding day is going to bail and not want to marry me. But I'm also really, really nervous about seeing her before the wedding. And so I ended up end up getting my cousin to cover my eyes, and it's kind of fun, and I'm all clumsy and stuff, and I enter the room, and I have to tell her how much I love her and profess all of these feelings, but tell her that, you know what, it's okay if you don't want to marry me, because I just want you to be happy. Because the only thing that matters to me is your happiness, and I mean that wholly and truly.
Roger, I can't answer that right now, okay? But, how about I meet you outside in about 10 minutes, and I'll be the girl at the end of the alley.
She's gone.
How'd she look?
Like an angel. Why am I still holding her?
It was just a great time, and I just want to, thank you, James, for firing the guy before me and bringing me on for the opportunity to have some fun. It really made me feel like that's what I wanted to do, was to be on fun sets like that. And I don't know if I've been on that fun of a set since, but my plan is to find a set that's just that fun.
Hello, Clark.
Eddie?
Edward.
Whatever.
I need my lawnmower back.
Fucking homeowners association, bunch of Nazis. I'll get your lawnmower back.
Hi, Eddie.
Hello, Ellen.
I'm Janet Mason, and I was mom in Last Beautiful Girl. And my favorite part was that I got to work with Billy Crane. I think he has such charisma, and he is so natural and comes across so well in these scenes and others that I've seen him play for them. And I just think the world of him. I have great respect for the man. And speaking of respect, I have tremendous respect for the Twitchy Dolphin Flicks film family. It doesn't matter how many scenes you're in or how many lines you have or whatever. They treat you like you are important. You are valuable to this film, and you matter. And that speaks volumes to me. That grabs my heart, because I have been so thankful to be part of a number of films over the years with Twitchy, and I just developed such amazing friendships with them. So, James, Christopher, and Jessica, I love you, and the whole Twitchy Dolphin Flicks film family. I love you, and I'm very, very thankful.
My daughter's a princess, and you're going to treat her like that.
Yes, sir.
When a man gives his daughter away to another man, it's giving away a piece of himself. And I know that on that night, she's finally going to be a woman. Because that'll be her first time, right? Because that's how it's done.
Oh, please.
Dad.
You and I waited all of about 12 hours before you made me a woman. And to be honest, you were not the first. Or the second. So please, stop picking on the poor boy.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
The experience working on The Last Beautiful Girl was it was so much fun. It was good to be around the crew and everyone. I have a lot of warm feelings about that production and any production I've worked on with Twitchy and everybody. They've always created a really fun environment. The pool party stuff was a lot of fun.
The Last Beautiful Girl was my very first film ever to act in, and it was amazing. I had the best time, and it was the first time meeting the Twitchy Dolphin crew.
Last Beautiful Girl was my first film working as a cinematographer. I was lucky enough to learn from the best of Chris Koppel on Deville, but I'm not sure if there's anything that really prepares you for being put in charge of an entire department. That being said, as scared as I was going into it and as unprepared as I felt, it was such a fun shoot. And I really learned what it's like to collaborate with someone artistically on that shoot, because Jim and I would go back and forth with shot ideas and so many different ways that we could take the scene through the camera. And that was such a just incredibly fulfilling time for me artistically, because I was able to really flex these creative muscles that I hadn't used before in that way.
So The Last Beautiful Girl was an interesting one because it kind of was the film that divided in half the Twitchy Dolphin legacy, because up until that point it was a lot of the same cast and majority the same crew, but then after that point there was a big shift in the cast that we had on major films, the lead roles, new DP, and I think it was scary at first to think about, because we had been doing great things with the same people for so long that taking new people and putting them in those crucial roles, we weren't sure maybe we wouldn't be able to create the same caliber product. But at the end of the day, we ended up making another film that we were proud of, and it deserved to bear the Twitchy Dolphin logo on it.
The movie itself, I think, came together really strong. Again, it feels, it's weird to watch it because there are definite parallels to Littlefield. Like, here's an example of some of the scenes that essentially were the same scene.
She'd be the girl from page 19, first runner-up for homecoming queen. Someday, oh someday, yeah, I'm gonna learn how to walk on water. If I can learn how to live with my mistakes someday, before I wish down of my wishes away, I'm gonna figure out how to be crystalline and pure.
But I love the movie, and it does feel really close to what I had wanted in my head coming for it. And again, it gave me people that I would continue to collaborate with, with Tracy Ely and Shelby, and obviously Emily Joseph is going to DP the next two films. Morgan ends up meeting Cedric and ends up doing a movie with him, in addition to being a really bright spot in one of our best Scarlett Waters movies, Curse of the Furbies. So, it all ended great. And the thing I'll remember about the first screening of that movie was we went to Laughlin, Nevada. There's a line in the breakup scene.
God, don't make this harder than it is.
I'm not gonna make it easy.
Fair enough.
And a buddy of mine, he's a filmmaker and runs a film festival from Texas, Lewis, shout out, leans forward. He was in the audience and said that was a really, really great line. And sheepishly, I will say I love the compliment. And it also reminded me of that scene of Top Gun when Slider leans forward and tells Maverick, "Gutsiest move I ever saw, man." So I thought that was pretty cool.
Awesome. And you have a hair that's across your face. You look stupid.
Okay, thanks, man.
Away someday, yeah, I'm gonna learn how to walk on water. If I can learn how to live with my mistakes someday, Before I wish all of my wishes away, I'm gonna figure out how to be crystalline and pure, and you won't hurt me anymore.